Hello and welcome back to Cardboard Decoy Plays Gnomoria. So I went ahead and started digging out all the other gems. I need to build several crates more than likely. Let's see. Crate, any crate. Oh, we're saving. That's fine. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Our gems and miscellaneous stockpile there is getting a little unruly, which is good. Definitely. I'm not trying to trash talk it whatsoever, but it's definitely filling up. So let's see, did I have any sapphires somewhere around here? Yeah, there's some sapphires here. Let's go ahead and dig those out. So we are on the hunt for jewels. Oh man, speaking of jewel thieves, good lord, you know what was a really good game? Was Legend of Mana. Was it Legend of Mana? I'm trying to think. It should have been Legend of Mana. I'm pretty sure it's Legend of Mana. It was the PlayStation Mana game where it had like about 1 million different storylines. Like, no exaggeration, just 1 million different storylines, and it was all oh god, I really love that game. This is gonna turn into a quick stream of consciousness Legend of Mana rant really quick, but I played it not that long ago. I found it and emulated it because my original copy was stolen ages ago by this prick. At least I'm pretty sure I know which prick stole it, and he was a prick. Let's just say, you out there, if you stole my Legend of Mana game, you know who you are. I'm a real tall guy. We sort of went to school together, and you're a prick. That's all there is to it. But yeah, so I freaking love the hell out of that game, and I spent hours and hours just because there were so many different little tangential story paths that you can go on and discover. And I had the player's guide and everything, and the player's guide did an amazing job of just being spoiler-free and be like, do this thing. And they did it in such a way that it just seemed arbitrary, and then whenever you actually do it, you're like, oh my god, oh, that's what they were asking me to do. Jesus, oh, wow. But one of the best, I think my personal favorite was the Jewel Thief storyline. It's basically, you had the Jumi, which are these people who had these jewels for cores, and it controlled their whole life force and all of that fun stuff. Really kind of neat kind of world building stuff and all of that jazz. And yeah, there was a jewel thief who stole these cores because the cores were these jewels. So you had, you know, I think his name was just Lazuli, but he had a lapis lazuli core. And then there was Pearl, who had a pearl core, and that kind of a deal. And yeah, you start running into this jewel thief who is essentially murdering people. Like, if you took the core, they died, right? Their body couldn't survive afterwards. So, but apparently you could reconstitute them if you did it right. I don't know, you know, storylines, fantasy plot lines, and all of that. But man, that story was just, it had it all. It had like this excitement, this murder mystery kind of air to it, and then there were all these elements surrounding it, and then there was the love story between Lazuli and Pearl, and it was just absolutely obnoxiously fantastic. Oh my god, it was so good. And like, that was one of the first and few times where, like, by the end of the storyline, I was very nearly in real, like, unconsolable tears just because it was that good. And yeah, no, and all the stories were kind of like that. That one just happened to be my favorite. I think that was really good, and I was a lot younger whenever I actually pulled it off. I'm trying to think. Last time I beat it, I played a different story. I played one of the stories I don't remember having played before whenever I played through it. And now I can't really remember it that well at all. I don't even know if I actually finished that storyline. Or did I do the Dragon People storyline? There was the Dragon People storyline. There was like this, I don't know. It had everything. It had town rebuilding and like this sort of weird kind of strategy, sort of Settlers of Catan element to it, and you know, just, oh, it was such a good game. I wouldn't call it the perfect game. It was definitely a little long, and it was definitely a little grindy, to say the least. But man, was it a fantastic game. Legend of Mana, there you go. Go look that up. Original PlayStation, PSX, whatever you want to call it. Such a good game. Such a very, very good game. I 10 out of 10. Jesus, here we go. Controls. There we go. I have regained control of the game. Hooray. Now, it looks like, oh, he's smelting things. Okay, that's fine. So, still slowly getting our steel production going here. Contents, 104 bars. That's 21 steel. That's pretty considerable. We got a lot of copper, though, and plenty of tin. and a little bit of iron, but we're still getting it, and that's pretty important. So yeah, we'll just continue trading statues for more ore, and then just trading up from there. Yeah, our worth is recovered back to where it was before our trade, so we're definitely up. But again, we also mined like a crap ton of gems, so I don't know how much of that is new value coming up from the mines. So I imagine it's pretty considerable, but not all of it for sure, because statues be expensive, and bars are relatively cheap by comparison. So let's see, where are we at down here? Everything should be built down here. This will basically be our queue that we can continue on once we have that dug out and we're done with our little jewel hunt for the time being. We had a few gems up here. Yeah, we've got to dig that out, and they're doing that. Unfortunately, gems take a while to mine, and whenever you're trying to do them together, it gives off that illusion of just taking forever, which is fine. It's no big deal. Let's go like that. Make sure we get those gems too. Oh, and these, and also some coal in the wall there. So let's see, there's more coal here. Now I'm digging up everything I find. We're just sort of resource hoarding for the time being, which is fine. Side note, speaking of other games that are not the game I'm playing, Factorio. Oh my goodness, I've got plenty of strategies for Factorio. It hasn't quite... I had mentioned this before about Prison Architect, and Factorio is kind of the same way, where it's like not quite to the point where I'm ready to start playing it again, but they've been talking about adding a bunch of things. They've done a lot of just sort of bug fixes and some asset upgrades, and those are all well and good, but I'm waiting for like some real meaty stuff to happen before I try to play it again. But I have been playing it on free play mode, and free play mode is a very different mindset because you just sort of float around. You don't actually have an avatar. There's no threat of death. There's just the threat of, you know, everything in your factory being destroyed, and especially if you're trying to keep everything contained in chests, that could be incredibly backsetting. Yeah, I'll stick with that. And that can be kind of terrifying sometimes, because since you're not like a person running around, you can't exactly immediately intervene. I think they changed it. Everything I look up to on the documentation, which is largely dated, just says you have no way to fight them. Like, you have to rely on turrets. But you can throw grenades and poison bombs, and those are handy. They are real handy. Unfortunately, they have a huge blast radius, and in the case of grenades, you probably end up destroying like half the rest of your factory as well, which is fine. You know, it's not that big of a problem. It's kind of annoying, but it's not necessarily a problem. It just sort of is a time constraint, I suppose, or a time issue. I'm gonna go check on my jeweler and see how his skills are doing. But it's definitely kind of given me, because I'm also trying to figure out how to make a decent, where is it? Woodcutting, smelting, jewelry making. 12. You are terrible. You're just terrible. Just keep cutting gems. That's fine. You'll get there. Don't worry. Where was I? Oh, Jesus. I totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, no, so I'm trying to make a factory without drones, like not use logistics drones, because I really like logistics drones, but I think it kind of breaks down the like problem-solving aspect of the game fairly quickly once you start using them more and more. And so I'm trying to figure out how to do that, and it's broken up the way I play the game, and I'm spending a lot more time in what I would call the hoarding phase. And by that I mean I'm basically just set up a bunch of chests and arms so that I get a bunch of resources and hoard them and don't necessarily spend them. So I mean, ore not necessarily. Yeah, there's a stockpile for ore that's in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and that feeds directly into the furnaces, which start, you know, converting everything to actual usable plates. And that works out fairly well, and now my stores of plates are starting to fill up just a little bit, but it's a very limiting in the sense that I don't know how playable that strategy would be if you were actually playing with an avatar, and that's the only thing. I can theory craft all day long, but whenever you're actually trying to run around and not die and you need to be mobile, because the other thing is you kind of become aware of the fact that shipping is a really big deal. And by shipping, I mean, like, the car already has, like, an incredibly huge inventory to it, and you kind of wonder, hey, how could I better take advantage of this? And I realized that the amount of times that I'm just moving everything around manually is pretty intense. Like, it happens fairly... What are you doing? She picked up a whole bunch of basalt, and she only has one leg, and she's taking it somewhere. I don't know why they didn't just pile it up to begin with. Okay, well, she's just going to abandon it there. Hopefully somebody who has more than one leg will be able to take over and do something with that. That's the hope. At least until Zet decides to path all the way down into the depths of the cavern here and not make it up in time to eat and then dies of starvation, which at this point is pretty much all we could hope for. It's a little sad, but I don't have a better way of excommunicating and killing gnomes, except maybe I could wall her off Sim style in her room and just let her go easy, you know, not much of a fight there, you know, and just try not to imagine too hard a gnome desperately trying to escape her room by knocking on the walls and screaming, and other gnomes walking by and being like, yeah, well, we don't talk about that. The ambassador comes by and they're like, shouldn't we help them? And everybody's like, shh, no, just let it be. I've gotten really into dark humor lately. I'm just going to justify myself by saying it's a sense of humor and nothing else. It's nothing. Okay, so I'm going to build that there. Alright. I'm trying to think what else. There's been a couple situations where I realize, like, and I don't normally do this, but every now and then, I don't know, I guess I get kind of what you would call like a horror movie kind of mood, where all of a sudden I'm really just interested in, like, really good psychological horror and everything else, and then I just get kind of off the wall with it, because as a person who likes to dabble in the artistic ways, the tendency is to kind of absorb your surroundings and the things you've been into lately, and then, like, basically regurgitate those things in your own format, using, you know, your experiences recently, or your more recent experiences. And since right now it's been kind of the horror genre for me, I realize I come up with some pretty fucked up shit, and then that'll go on until I manage to embarrass myself somehow in a very usually context inappropriate way, like at work, and just all of a sudden you bust out the extremely dark horror jokes, and somebody's like, my uncle died that way, and then it's like, well, it's time to stop that. That's not going to happen again for a while, so that's usually the pattern. Hopefully I don't end up repeating that indefinitely, but, you know, we'll see, I guess. So just as long as I don't get fired for it, you know, it's a fun pastime to try to come up with your own ghost stories. What can I say? Yeah, what did I finally read the, what is it? The, Spelunker Dave story creepypasta, which I thought was okay. The build-up was a lot better than the payoff. Like, by the time you got to the end of the story, it was just sort of like, okay, do something, and then, like most creepypastas, they focus really hard on letting the reader fill in the gaps, and I'm just not that scary-minded. Like, that's the other half of it. It's like, I have this really dark sense of humor, but it's come from, like, an over-the-top kind of place. Like, what's his name from, oh Jesus, what was it? The new girl who he can't prank anybody because it's either just really, really weak sauce, like, hey, I know, how about we put tape all over his shoelaces? And it's like, that's not a prank, that's just annoying. Or it's way over the top, and it's like, I know, let's soak his socks in gasoline and then set them on fire. And it's like, that's assault. And I am kind of the same way with a lot of things, where it's like, I either go way, way, way overboard with an idea, or it's just not that good. And I'm regularly caught up in between the two. Let's see, I feel like mining out all these walls. These resources here are just taunting me at this point. So, but yeah, I have a very similar problem, suffice to say. And I struggle with it. The struggle is real. The artistic, I want to do this with a thing, but never know where the boundaries are for it kind of problem. So, it's a real thing. It's, you know, pity me or something. I don't know. Let's see. There we go. Dig out that wall. It's a fairly long shaft. That's what she said. Blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, it looks like we got all of it. It seems like uncovering that much surface area would have yielded slightly better results, but, oh well. I'm not gonna cry about it. And you shouldn't either, you big chicken. Says the biggest chicken shit dude in all of gaming history, so... Although I'm getting over it. a lot of times in life I've discovered if I have a problem with something, I should probably just get over myself. It's worked well so far. So, don't know what that says about my sense of assertion or agency at that point, but, you know, I've come to terms with these things a long time ago. Okay, so we go back up here. Let's check up topside. Right now we're just sort of trying to balance our mining with our actual topside activity, and it seems to be okay right now. Like, we're not overstretching our resources or anything. All of our ore has been processed, which means now, oh hey, it's the first day of fall. And yeah, it's just now newly the first day of fall. I really doubt we're going to get any nomads, but, you know, I like to remain hopeful for no other reason than, you know, it'd be nice if it happened. So that explains a lot of my philosophies and political standings as well. It's like, I don't imagine my ideals are going to take place, but it'd be nice, so I'll just keep promoting them until maybe they do, you know? So it's nice. You gotta keep the dream alive. Why aren't you building? Did I build you in midair? I did build you in midair. Hold on. Cancel job. Okay. Build terrain, and that probably was responsible for a little bit of crashage earlier. No good. Alright, so we're trying to... I just want to get rid of this walkway here and just failing miserably at it. Oh, you know what? We don't even need the scaffolding because it's attached to the archery training center. Cancel. Okay. And then terrain, remove floor, and there we go. Fortunately, it's just going to access that 1Z layer, otherwise that could be really embarrassing, and they're going to immediately start work on it. Fantabulous. So, and we've got like 3 minutes left. 3 and a third, 3 and a third, 3 and a quarter now. Interesting how 5 seconds will do that. It fascinates me on a mathematical scale. And of course we're going to have somebody trying to pick up rocks while they're being generated, and that's going to create a problem, but it seems like they've given up, so that's good. 3 nomads have arrived! There you go! Small favors. Alright, so population. Assign. Yeah, now I really don't know how the nomads work. I mean, I'll just, you know, keep building stuff and cross my fingers. Fizz! Didn't we have... Yeah, we have a deceased Fizz. Okay, so Fizz Reborn has come back to us. What are his skills? Pottery, weapon crafting, gem cutting. Ooh, jewelry making 12. He's just barely better than our current guy. Do we have anybody who's really good at gem making, jewelry making? Not really. Okay, fine. I don't care then. Pottery, weapon crafting, wood cutting. Do we need another woodcutter? We do need another builder. We're gonna go ahead and make him a builder, and then these other two are career military. Career military, and we're going to relieve some people of their duties and or fill in some empty spots from previous deaths. Yeah, those are all... Yep, we're good there. Windy Axis of Strife. And yeah, everybody's full. What do we want to get rid of? Blacksmith? Yeah, we'll get rid of Blacksmith. Claymorians. So we need you. And then a farmer and a farmer. Yeah, we're going to get rid of these. We're almost to full career military on our Claymorian, the swine shearers or savagery, which is good. Just one more gnome, and then we'll be able to have them full-time training as well, which is really good. So I guess that's kind of decided for us. We're just going to focus on the Claymore guys next. They're going to dump their armor in the middle of the floor and then run off, and then we'll have them replaced with our new full-time trainees. Fantastic stuff. Why don't you have a sword? Is there a reason why you don't have a sword? A good reason? No. Where are our training people? They have taken the melee well far away. Either that or they're very distracted. So I guess, well, we'll hope for the best on that one, and then not expect anything. Probably the safest bet. Where was I? Down here. I was going to do something topside, and then I got interrupted by nomads. Actually, that wasn't an interruption at all. It was a fantastic blessing from the Gnomorian gods, of whom I now swear fealty, etc. Okay. And we also have an extra builder now, which is going to make this whole process just a little bit faster, which also means we might want to consider expanding our woodworking a little bit, but, you know, we'll let that slide for now. Not a big, huge deal. Oh no, a honey badger. Okay, hold on. Let me go to options really quick. Options. Gameplay, pause and show enemies spotted, arriving nomads, merchants, and generate craft item jobs by default. They're not going to do show action bar, show stockpiles. Show farm, show pasture, show personal quarters, dormitories, dining rooms, guard areas, and patrol routes. All of that is pretty... I can understand turning them all off at once if you wanted to take a really good screenshot, but otherwise... let me look at this really quick. I kind of want to see what it looks like here. Options, gameplay, show, action bar, personal quarters, dormitories, dining rooms. Let's just turn all of this off and see what it looks like. Back. Of course, you can't apparently turn off workshops, which is a little unfortunate, but there we go. We know where they are, so that's convenient. I don't know, maybe it's not a bad idea to leave that off anyways. There's no real... Well, I guess the blue is out from underneath these trees, but the farm's never had a problem with that. Yeah, pastures. Pastures look a little more natural, I suppose. Rooms, too, look a little natural. Okay, what just happened? Honey badger's been spotted. Was that the only thing? Was I still paused from that? That sucks. Yeah, that's... Our workshops still have colors under them, and that's the one I would really want to go, because I want to see what this equipment looks like just staying on the floor like that. There we go. That's kind of clean looking, but not necessarily like, oh yeah, no, totally, what have I been doing playing with this on this whole time? So we'll go ahead and turn it back on. Just to help keep everything organized. And that's the end of this video, actually. So, nourishment weight. What? How gnomes will travel for better food and drink. Huh. Interesting. That's very interesting. Good to know. Okay, so... And... Yeah, so this has been Cardboard Decoy playing Gnomoria. Whenever we come back, we'll continue on our seesawing of management here, and I'm still on the hunt for iron. Don't get me wrong, I really want my iron stocks to grow wildly out of control for a little bit. That would be nice right about now. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers and all that. So, but yeah, and yeah, so Cardboard Decoy playing Gnomoria, blah, blah, blah. I will see you next time. Have fun.